The concept of soul therapy was coined by me, to the best of my knowledge. Perhaps it may be existing somewhere, but I came up with this particularly when I realized the fact that a lot of believers, by virtue of what I do, I speak with a lot of believers, ministers of the gospel inclusive. I noticed that a lot of believers have this huge gap in our soul, and I also noticed that Satan has been leveraging on that thing for centuries to overcome and conquer Christians. Man is a spirit, man has a soul, and man resides in a body. Clearly, the soul is that software, an unseen component that links the spirit and the body together. The soul is that bridge that connects the body and the spirit. So the spirit can only gain material and physical expression by partnering with the soul to print through the body. So the body is like a visual display or a monitor, if you like. So I have realized that in our quest to be highly spiritual, we ignore the soul. But we have forgotten that at the end of this earthly life, should we don't meet the rapture, should we're not the generation that would experience the rapture, we will drop this body temporarily in the earth, and then our soul and spirit would live forever. The soul will live forever because the soul is incorporated to the spirit originally, but it has its influence on the body. And the soul is made up of three components. Studies have shown: the mind, or the intellect, the will, and the emotions. These are three aspects of the soul. Now let's take the soul in a more analytical study. Interestingly, our soul is a very delicate and sensitive component of our being. It's like a soil. The soul is like a soil, or is a soil rather. And our experiences, especially from childhood, sow seeds in our soul, especially from childhood. Interestingly, some of the people in government today who are stealing and who are corrupt and who are mismanaging resources, most of those things they are manifesting now are seeds sown from childhood. So this is the chief source of the woundedness adults experience. And the painful thing is that it may take you a lifetime to realize that you are manifesting the wounds of your childhood. You will not know if nobody brings you to speed as to the source of your possible expression. You may not know. So a whole lot of parents, they are now parents, they now have their own children, but they are still manifesting childhood woundedness. And as a result of that, they are also wounding their own children. So a cycle is continuing because nobody has enough discernment to tell that they are manifesting childhood woundedness. If you were compared as a child, you have been wounded. If you were always blamed as a child for things that go wrong, you have been wounded. If you were never appreciated for your efforts, it's a wound. If you were always scolded as a child, especially in the public, you have been wounded. And these things have a pocket in your soul they will store and they will save in that file. And they don't just save there, they would become programs that will eventually start to manifest as fruits in later years. For example, you will find out that you suddenly become competition driven. Everywhere you find yourself, you want to by all means be the first. When you are second, you are never satisfied. You always want to be the first. It's very good to be excellent, but there are times when you will find out that unnecessarily, even when there is no competition there, you are competing with someone. It's a proof that you are manifesting a fruit of childhood woundedness. Jealousy, for example. Jealousy usually stems from the fact that you were always compared as a child. So no matter what you have, you don't feel good enough. Then possessiveness. You want things solely for yourself. You have this unnecessarily firm grip on things and on people. So when people are in your life, you have this unnecessarily firm grip on them. You don't want them around any other person. And the interesting thing is, you will manifest these traits subconsciously. Anger, you just notice you boil over so easily. Little things get you boiled over. Truth is, it's very healthy to get angry, but when it becomes anger that controls you, that causes you to lose your sense of identity, you lose sense of who you are, you lose touch with the real person you are, it becomes a problem. Bitterness, resentment. When you notice these traits, most of them have their roots from our childhood, and you would have to sit back. This is the thing about us, especially those of us that are believers, those of us that are God's children. I think it's even worse off for those of us that are ministers, because one of the things being a minister has done to a lot of people, it has birthed this pride in them that they never admit they need help. So you would think you are just okay. Meanwhile, you are manifesting things that will destroy you. If you read through God's generals, a whole lot of them were destroyed because of these things in their soul that were left unattended to. So when you notice these things in your life, I will just give a brief rundown on what to do. First of all, when you identify the fruit, trace it to the root. When you identify, this is number 1 point, when you identify the fruit, trace it to the root. For example, you are bitter. If you are bitter, why are you so bitter? It's not because of what this new friend of yours is doing that is making you bitter. This new friend is just peeling an old wound. Why are you bitter? Who made you bitter? You have found the fruit. The fruit is bitterness. What is the root? The root could be a childhood experience you had that has made you bitter and has planted resentment in your heart too. So what do? Having identified the fruit and traced it to the fruit, now you have to forgive the person who wounded you. It makes no difference if the person has apologized. Forgive the person who wounded you. Forgive the person that took advantage of you. Forgive them. And what do I mean forgive them? I mean call their names and forgive them. Call their names and forgive them. Call their names and tell them. You may not have to call them immediately, but you're doing the personal inward healing process first, the inward therapy. You're calling the person's name and saying, I forgive you for doing so and so to me. Yeah, I forgive you for being mean to me while I was a child, for taking advantage of me. I forgive you. Then after that, you must forgive yourself, because most people that are bitter have this unforgiveness against themselves too. They are blaming themselves for something that happened to them as a child. Meanwhile, they were innocent children, but they are still subconsciously or passively still blaming themselves. Forgive yourself. Tell yourself, mention your name, tell yourself, I forgive you. You didn't know any better. You were just a child. I forgive you. Forgive yourself. Then number 2 step is stop focusing on that thing that causes you bitterness and anger in your thought life. Stop focusing on it. You know, your thought life is like a desktop with folders. Thoughts will jump at you from time to time. It is your responsibility to accept or reject a thought that jumps at you. It's like on your desktop, a folder cannot open if you don't click it. That is the same thing. The moment the thought comes and you click it, it will dominate you. And when you focus on a thought, you give it power to dominate you. Focus is power. When you focus on a thought, it begins to generate an energy that is consistent with its nature, the nature of the thought. If it's a bitter thought, it will begin to generate bitter energy. And the interesting thing is, if you stay focused on a wrong thought, that thought will begin to adjust your hormonal balance. Yes, it will begin to adjust your hormonal balance. Everybody, research has shown, everybody who has lived in anger, bitterness, resentment, have a particular ailment, an illness that they are battling against. Every single person. It's either they are battling migraine headache, heart palpitation, ulcer, cancer, something particularly. Why? Focus is power. When you focus on bitterness, it generates bitter energy, and bitter energy will begin to adjust your body system. Number 3, meditate on the word. You check Galatians 5:22, you see the fruit of the Spirit. Then you check Philippians 4:8, you will see the range of things you should stay thinking about. The range of things you should stay thinking about. You will see it in Philippians 4:8. Stay there in your mind. Don't allow your mind wander into garbage or the refuse bin. Keep your mind stayed on the word. Confess the word, and then it will help you build a perfect self-image. The word will help you build the perfect self-image. So even when you get angry, you still have the image of who you really are. No matter how angry I am, I can't curse at people. The reason is simple. There are no curses inside me. I don't have insults inside me, so it cannot come out. The law is, out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. So if I don't have trash inside me, it cannot come out through my mouth, no matter how angry I am. Number 4 point is, stay perpetually in thanksgiving and gratitude. This is very powerful. Stay perpetually in thanksgiving and gratitude. Always look out for something in your life to thank God for. There is always something to be thankful for. And always look out for who to thank for being there for you. While someone else was not there for you, while someone else broke you while you were a child or mistreated you, right now God has blessed you with people who are there for you, who give you listening ears, who coach you, who mentor you, who father you, who bless you. So you thank God for those people and focus on thanksgiving. See, thanksgiving has a way of paralyzing so many negative energies from our life. Thanksgiving takes the pressure off you. Being gratitude takes the pain of having certain things not happen yet in your life. So just be thankful. Then this is going to be my last point for now. Appraise your progress on a regular basis. Appraise your progress. Are you still getting angry so easily? Are you still jealous? Are you still possessive? Check out all these things and appraise your progress, and then run through the whole procedure from time to time. Most importantly, I would advise you stay in meditation on God's word. Listen to God's word constantly, and then meditate on God's word and talk God's word constantly. Write it on sticker notes and place it around your room and confess it regularly. Smile more, laugh some more, and just enjoy life. I hope this will inspire you, and I would be expecting your questions on areas you want me to elaborate on. God bless you, and have a great time listening. Regards.